Set to Love, we offer strategies and ideas on how you can stay out of crazy town. See, your human experience is meant to be lived with meaning, purpose, and creativity. You are here to contribute through your essence. We are best friends, moms, entrepreneurs, and above all, find our flow in assisting you to find yours. We come together weekday mornings to bring you ideas to fall deeper in love with your life and the journey that you are on. Take what works and ditch the rest, and always stay set to love. Thank you for being a part of this community. We're all designed to live in flow. So let's go. Good morning, Set to Love community. Today we are talking about getting out of crazy town. Yesterday, we talked about Crazy Town and what it is. And today, we're talking about really some great strategies on how to get yourself out. That place where your mind is racing and your emotions are racing and everything in your life just feels like out of control. We want you to live in control. So, welcome to another morning of Set to Love. Welcome, best friend, back to our show. How are you today?
Really good. I'm calm. No
You
crazy
are
town here.
calm. You look so nice. I love that color on you.
Thank you. Thank you. I got this at a discount store, an express discount store. So,
well, I love it. It looks
Thank
fantastic. All right. So let's talk about this. Yesterday, if you guys missed the episode, we talked about Crazy Town. I showed this giant picture that I drew a couple years ago about what Crazy Town looks like in my head. I'll just recap in 30 seconds or less. When you're in flow, you're using your conscious mind, you're in the present moment, you're aware, you're able to make good sense of the experience you're having and therefore make good choices in how you move forward for the betterment of yourself and for those around you and for those you're going to influence. And what happens is when we go to Crazy Town, the thoughts start racing, the emotions start racing, we start making up stories, we start telling ourselves how horrible it is, and all these what might be negative emotions come into play. Shame, guilt, anger, frustration, disappointment, everything that just pulls us out from being calm and rational in the present moment. And we can operate from that place. And we see a lot of people, especially nowadays, really coming from that place of Crazy Town, where it's just not who they are at their core. We are love and peace and harmony and connection. And that's truly every single human, who we are. And sometimes that part of us can get blocked. It's like we're in fog and it's hard to get out of it. And some people can live in Crazy Town. Some of us just pass on by, recognize it and pass on by. And some of us really stay there. So what happens when you find yourself in Crazy Town? Like, you have arrived, you got off the train, and you are in the midst of the madness, the chaos of life. How do you consciously pull yourself out so that you can get back to living your flow life? What ideas do you have, best friend?
I have a few because I've been at Crazy Town before.
We all have.
Right? I think the first thing that we should do is breathe. And I have a little exercise that people can do. You remove yourself from your situation, wherever it is. I don't care if it's your car, in a bathroom. It just doesn't matter. Just recognize that you're in trouble. Okay. And then you stop and you give yourself this practice. You take a hold of your thumb and you close your eyes and you just squeeze your thumb, not too hard, but very lovingly. And you just focus on that nurturing of what you're doing for your thumb. And then you slowly go to the next finger and you hold that finger and you just, not a quick breath, but just a deep breath. And you let it out, and then you go to the next finger and you just be so loving as you hold that finger and take that breath.
And don't squeeze it to death. Not
to death. And so when you get through all 10 fingers and you've taken these deep breaths, I know you always say the deep breaths are so important, but if you put your focus on being loving, how you're holding each finger, and by the time you get to 10, you really are calmer than you would have been.
Yes.
That I think that that's really important. And you have to challenge your thoughts. You have to say, and if you can't get off that train, then the next thing to do is to try and just say, you know what, I don't have time for this right now. I'm just gonna, for me, I leave it in my car a lot of times. I'll pull down the visor and I say, I'm gonna set it right here. It'll be back when I'm done later. And I have to be able to go on. So I'll play games like that. So those are a few. Do you have a few?
Yeah, I love those. Those are great. Breathing, definitely my number one go-to. Well, recognizing it, right? Which we talked a lot about yesterday. So being able to recognize it in ourselves. And then you mentioned this yesterday too, but not being prideful. So it's one thing to recognize it, and it's another thing to really say, oh yeah, I'm here, versus recognizing it and then saying, oh, but it's warranted. I'm allowed to feel this way, which you totally are. But being able to put your ego aside and your pride aside to say, okay, but this isn't the best place for me to operate from. So once it's recognized, breathing for sure, number one. I sometimes have to just go on a walk. I need to remove myself from the situation, or go on a run, or do some sort of physical activity. Sometimes just doing something physical, or cleaning. I'll do the dishes, I'll put away laundry, I'll do something that's constructive, that my mind can focus on something different than where I'm at in that moment. And because when I can take my mind away from the madness of it, of whatever the situation is, I can start to see more options more clearly, and then make a different choice versus just being reactive. So, and then I also pause, really hitting not just 10 deep breaths, but really pushing the pause button on how I'm going to respond to whatever the situation is. So if I'm getting a message from someone, or if I'm feeling a certain way and I have all of these stories and thoughts racing through my mind, I won't just reply with what I'm thinking or say right away what I'm thinking. I'll really think through what I want to say, and I'll play the story out in my head. I'll hear myself saying to the person, what you said really hurt my feelings, and this is how I feel about it, and I just wanted you to know. Versus, I can't believe you would say that. That would blah 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 blah. I'll see myself reacting in a more positive way, in a more loving way to whatever the situation is. And until I can see myself doing that, and like wholeheartedly, truly believing it, not just doing it sarcastically, not just doing it as a just because, but really meaning it, then I will go and have that conversation, because it's coming from a more grounded place, that with an intention of really trying to work it out, and really just trying to be heard and understood, and then trying to understand where the other person's coming from. So I think those are some of the things that I do initially, but sometimes just for me, just recognizing it, especially if it's just these kind of short crazy town bursts. I don't tend to go into like a long-term crazy town place, but I go into short-term crazy town places. Like with the kids, I'll be frustrated if I'm the only one cleaning the house, for example, and no one's helping, or and then I just start to get all worked up. So I try really hard to recognize where I'm at, and then just validate where I'm at, and go, okay, this is how I'm feeling about the situation, and then take some breaths, and then try to respond in a more loving way, and see myself responding in that loving way. It's sometimes it's really hard to do. And that's why we talked about this yesterday too, but having people in your lives that can be your, that can pull you off the ledge, can pull you back from the ledge. As my sister would say, she would call me sometimes and go, I need you to talk me off the ledge, talk me off the ledge. I'm really good at talking people off the ledge. And sometimes I need that too. Sometimes I need someone to just pull me back gently, like, come back here, Eva, come back. Everything's going to be okay. So having some people in your lives who can pull you back, who can just sit with you, who can listen, who can be supportive, and then maybe offer a perspective that's different from the one that you're seeing because you're too close to whatever the situation is.
Well, what I heard you say though is basically you have to admit that you're anxious or angry,
Yeah.
and you are challenging your thoughts, because what you said, you look at it from the other person. And when you can do that, and then you just stop and clean and visualize your calm.
Mhm.
You get into a calmer place, and because you changed your focus of what you were doing. I
Right.
think those are really great ideas, because if we don't recognize where we're at, you can't
Mhm.
fix what you don't recognize.
Right,
So
right.
for me, all that you just said is you've got to breathe, recognize, focus, do something different, hear it from another person's side.
Mhm.
Uh, those breaths are so important. I mean, these are the things we really need to learn to naturally just do. So if we could
Yes. Yes.
write down how you're feeling, and then put in a positive side to it. And then those are the things that you should practice. Whatever of these ideas that we've given people, I think if we write them down and then start practicing them, because we get anxious all the time.
Oh,
So
yeah, for
once you
sure.
can get better at it,
And you
you
know what
can.
I think's really important too, Shelly, is holding space for other people when they're in crazy town and just recognizing that they are on their own journey. And it is not up to you to fix it. It is not up to you to make it better. I mean, you can help, you can try to assist, or you can try to, like with your kids, you can try to help them recognize it. But at the end of the day, we're all on our own journey, and holding space for people to be able to figure out their own version. Like when Chad and I separated and he was really angry about things a lot, it was from a place of, it wasn't like, oh, he's in crazy town. It was like, gosh, he's really hurting, and he's coming from this crazy town place, and that's not him. That's just the very clouded, sad part of him that's speaking right now. It isn't who he is at his core. And so just letting him have the time that he needed to get through whatever he needed to get through was really important. So when you have people in your life that you love, that you know you need to keep in your life, that you have to communicate with and have relationships with for whatever reasons, it's important that we hold space for people when they are in that place, because we're like I said, we're all on our own journey and trying to figure out um how to maneuver life. And so when we can just have grace for other people, I think hopefully down the road, they'll see that, they'll recognize that, and then they will then reciprocate that back to you when you are in your own version of crazy. They'll be like, okay, she's just over there right now. That's okay. She was very calm with me when I was having my moment of drama. And so I'm just going to hold space for her and just let her have her moment, and she'll come back around. So I think holding space for other people when they're there is really important. Your husband does a great job of that with
Oh
you,
my gosh,
doesn't he?
I just thought of this. This is so cute. He'll say, "Oh my goodness, we're a little hangry," like because I
Oh, yeah.
haven't eaten. He'll say, "When was the last time you ate?" He can recognize if I haven't stopped and ate lunch or whatever, because I might be a little bit too short or whatever that is. And I think of that was the perfect thing to help people, because we don't want to escalate a problem. If you would react to your son when he's taking a fit by, "Stop doing that, you've done this every time," nothing would be solved. So
No.
somebody has to have a calm demeanor to really get through the crazy times with either ourselves or our family members. So
So important.
pretty great information. I hope this helps people today. I think it
I
will.
think I think it will for sure. And the final thought that I had as you were saying that, I was talking to one of my friends, Jazz, and she said, when she calls, she has a friend, and every time they talk and this friend's in a bad mood or something's going on, she first tries to give some positive words of advice, like tries to look at the bright side and see the good. And then if that doesn't work, she says, when's the last time you ate something? When's the last time you drank something? Like, have you had water today? Like, just, is your body nourished?
Yes.
Can you like think rationally? And then there was a third step. I'm going to have to ask her what that third one was. I don't remember, but I love those two. Just having someone who can help you find the positive in the situation, and then just making sure that you're physically taking care of yourself.
And
Those
if
are great
someone
ways.
is listening and wants to give us some ideas that have worked for them, I would love to hear more ideas, because this is an ongoing lesson that I try to change all the time. I'm constantly learning. So please give us your ideas. That would help me and help others. And
Yes,
just wanna give this-
absolutely. You can comment below. We'd love to know how you stay out of Crazy Town, and what are some of those strategies. So thank you everyone for being here today. We love you. We appreciate you. We are here weekday mornings, and you can find us at settolove.com. If you want to email us, you can do that at settolovepodcast@gmail.com.
Love you, friend.
I
Hit
love
the
you, friend.
bell.
Thank you so much for another great episode. I love you. I love you. I love you. And everyone out there, we love you too.
Yes.
You stay set to love so you can
Hit
flow
the
for life.
bell. Ding, 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 ding.